These are the faces of soldiers. Many are hairless, few are wrinkled and gnarled. The majority are under 30 years old. These are the faces of a lost generation. In the minds of many, the Great World War of 1914 was a game, a chance for countries to display their military might and for men to prove their love for the motherland. But Heinrich Maria Remarque's war novel, All Quiet on the Western Front, shows readers the other side of this conflict. It's all rot that they put in the war news about the good humor of the troops, Paul Baumer, an infantryman in our story's narrator, writes. We are in good humor because otherwise we should all go to pieces. Even so, we cannot hold out much longer. Baumer joins the German army along with his 7 classmates in the beginning of the war. From the first bombardment, they come to understand the real nature of this war and the devastation and insanity of trench life. With each passing day, Baumer and his comrades battle against hopelessness and despair, finding solace only in the fact they are experiencing this hell together. Over the course of the novel, each of Baumer's friends is claimed by the war until he is the only one left from his original class of 7. Yet their deaths are just an infinitesimal portion of the vast numbers of casualties that resulted from this conflict. All Quiet on the Western Front, a book that is fiction but largely based on the life of Remarque himself, is therefore a window from which readers can catch a glimpse of the ugly and terrible side of warfare, the loss of innocence, and the camaraderie that bonds soldiers and allows them to survive for another day. It is Baumer's truthful and poignant narration that makes the message of this book so powerful. Baumer is, after all, just a boy of 19. The war has left him wizened and embittered, his childhood now but a distant memory. He intersperses his narrative with wistful images from his youth, the meadows he used to play in, the books he used to read, but the looming presence of the front and the threat of death acts as a chasm between what was and what is. Even if these scenes of our youth were given back to us, we would hardly know what to do, Baumer reflects. We might be amongst them and move in them. We might remember and love them and be stirred by the sight of them, but it would be like gazing at a photograph of a dead comrade. Those are his features, it is his face, but the man himself it is not. He also can no longer connect with his past. Once on leave and back in the civilian realm, he finds even his own father's questions about the front stupid and distressing. People here have worries, aims, desires that I cannot comprehend, Baumer reflects. They are different men here, men I cannot properly understand and whom I envy and despise. When I first read this book at the age of 15, I was initially struck by how young the narrator was. Now, as an older and more experienced reader, I am more saddened by Baumer and his comrades' loss of identity and purpose. Baumer has lost his childhood to the war. By the novel's end, he survives not out of a desire to continue to live, but more from the fact that living is the only viable option left to him. And as a reader whose future seems boundless and uninhibited, this resignation is the most depressing part of Baumer's narrative. This book makes me think about soldiers today serving in Afghanistan and their experience with this kind of bone-crushing loneliness. As these soldiers return from the fighting, we civilians can empathize with them, but we can never understand and share the trauma of what they have been through. Thus, Remarque's ability to put the soldier's experience into language readers can relate to is one of the book's most enduring qualities. Through the eyes of 17-year-old Paul Baumer, readers not only realize the pain, isolation, and sheer desolation that men fighting in World War I felt as they clung to life on the Western Front, we also are reminded that war is not the glorified battle between good and evil that politicians make it out to be. War, as we soon discover, is never that simple.